allowed.
All right. Let me
Okay,
know.
very well. We're on.
All right, so we'll call the December 8th meeting of the Home Inspection Licensing Board to order. First thing is a review of the minutes from the September meeting. Everybody had a chance to look at those? Any questions or issues?
Yeah, they look okay to me. I
Motion
move to
to,
approve them.
Yeah, motion, second it.
all in favor?
All right,
Okay, that's
So
done.
that was Larry and Bruce, right?
Right, Larry and Bruce.
Larry one, Bruce.
It should be Mo and Larry, I think.
Yeah. Next is the DCP Investigation Division Complaint Status Report. Pamela, is that what you're here for?
Good morning, Pamela Brown, Director of Investigations. Yes, I'm here to discuss the report.
Good morning, Pamela.
Good morning.
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 Good morning.
It was a pretty
So-
abbreviated report, as I recall.
Do you have the report?
No, I thought Bob sent that out, right?
We
Yeah.
sent it out. Yep.
Yeah, I
And it was
saw it.
only very
I
short.
sent it out.
Yeah, we had just one case closed. So what you see are our closed cases. So we had one complaint that closed.
Okay,
We have 4 complaints that remain open.
okay,
So there's not a high volume here, but the one case that closed was the Inspector Raffone is the respondent.
yeah,
And it says civil matter. Basically, the complainant alleges the inspector missed a few things. Didn't check certain amount of windows. There was some mold found, and however, in dispute, Mr. Raffone writes that, there were some areas that were not accessible because there was clothing and things in the area. And it does clearly state in his contract that, if I can't get to the area, I'm not going to inspect. He also rebutes that he didn't check the windows and some light switches because he said the homeowner, who is now, he's a homeowner now, did not show up until 45 minutes into the inspection. So there is a civil case now pending in the Superior Court or Small Claims Court over this matter. So we have closed out our investigation.
okay.
What about this other one, Kevin Mooring?
I don't see that one. I've only had this one case. Is there a case number? I can gladly look that up.
Yeah, it says case number 2020-132. And then it has the same one. It says 2020-133. And then it sounded about workmanship. The second one was billing. And then it says duplicate case.
So it was entered in twice, yes. So let me just see which one.
So that wasn't on the report that we got this month, though.
It looks like it.
No, I only
Was
have.
that the last report?
Yeah,
That might have been last month.
I see, last month. This was in 2019, created 2020, 4/23.
Yeah, so the report is April.
Yeah, so, yeah, that's right. So what was the issue on that one?
Let me look it up, but I don't have it in front of me. So you said it's 2020-132?
Yeah,
And what is the name of the complainant? The respondent. Is that
let
Kevin
me
Morey?
see. Yeah, Kevin Morey, right.
Okay. So workmanship, dispute of facts. Consumer alleges poor and shoddy home inspection by the respondent. Numerous visual defects were allegedly not noted in the report. And the homeowner incurred extensive repairs due to shoddy inspection.
The homeowner did?
Meaning that it says homeowner because it's now they purchased the home, so they become.
Oh,
the
I see,
homeowner.
they bought it and they said he didn't do, so
Yes,
you closed it out. What does that actually mean? That you looked at it and didn't have a merit to it?
yes, because it becomes a dispute of facts based on the breach of contract. So as you know, most of the contract says that we will do a certain amount of things, and then you have to go to get an expert. So I don't know what the visual defects were, something that they should have seen, but then this one is also a civil matter, will be closed out. So it wasn't a violation of any regulation or the statute. It's probably, it's more of a civil dispute between the parties involved in the agreement, and then they would have to seek that remedy in court.
I see.
Our
Okay.
concern is always the violation of a license or registration. And any consumer contract issue, it can be a unfair trade practices, but for a breach of contract or that it is a breach of contract, they would need to go to civil court.
I see. All right. So again, Bill, it's pretty amazing how, how little, complaints we get out of all the inspections that are done.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. However, I'm looking at some of the, for the investigator, we're going to be doing training with consumer contracts so that even though we have these issues, a couple of cases that I have reviewed personally because someone has, said, oh, my case we should have done more with the case, and I'll look. And, I have the background of reading, the familiarization with consumer contracts. And I'll say, oh, this one could actually cross over to the unfair trade practices. As long as though they have the disclosures in their contracts, we can only do visual inspections. We recommend that if there's something, we will do a sampling of maybe 12 light switches in a large room, whatever the numbers are. It's up to you to hire an electrician or a plumber, as long as those disclosures are in there, the consumer has been advised of steps that they should take. Or if they've been advised that there's some black mold, you got to buy the mold test or hire someone to come in.
Right.
And usually we see people, they oftentimes do not hire the second level of inspection because, they're already putting out a lot of money for this initial inspection and they don't want to spend money to bring someone else in.
Right. So, in order for somebody to really be responsible to the state, they have to have not followed the state regulations. For instance, let's say they inspected more than 3 components and they never issued a written report. And they did a home inspection. Now, that's obviously something that goes against the standards, and it would be easy for you or the board to decide. But, if somebody complains about some of the windows not working and they went around and did a random amount of windows, it's not going to have much merit.
Correct.
Can I ask a
So
quick question?
Yes.
Sure. So I think you earlier said something about the client complained that he hadn't sampled a proper number of windows and doors, and then his response was that the client got there late. Was that an excuse, or the client didn't see him because he got there late? Didn't see him do
The
it?
client didn't see him because he got there late, that he'd already
Okay.
started the inspection. And I know normally inspectors will get on the job site a little earlier and do all the exterior stuff, but
Right.
once inside, the home potential buyer, the buyer should be on the inside as well.
Right.
And however, he did show up, yes, 45 minutes late.
Yeah. And I imagine COVID has had some impact on how this is done because, with the distancing and so forth, and Bruce and Larry, you probably have some insight on this. Are you having the clients follow you around the way they normally would, or are you having them stay?
Well, the first, when this first got bad, which was let's say April, right? We actually would send out ahead of time that nobody could come in the house with us. So we were walking around doing the whole inspection alone, and then the people would wait in the garage, and then we'd review it with them afterwards. So, we tried a number of different things like cameras and video and all that type of stuff. And then it got, it eased up. So then we started letting the client come, everybody, of course, wearing masks and social distancing. But, now with it starting to, rage a little, we have to rethink it. But it's pretty interesting, Bill. First of all, there's nothing in our regulations that say a customer has to walk with us or not walk with us.
Right. And most of the time they don't.
Right. And, well, I don't know. Most of the time we do have our clients showing up. Actually, we have the client showing up and we have the realtor showing up right at the beginning of the inspection. I'd say on 90% of our inspections.
So what I meant was the client is there, but they don't stick with you for the whole 3 hours.
Yeah, they may not do that. That's right. Now, it's interesting because we're members of groups across the country, and there's a lot of people that do their inspections don't even have the client come till the end of the inspection, if at all. So there's lots of different ways that inspections are performed across the country, and it depends what the norm is. I mean, I think our norm in Connecticut is that people come.
Yeah.
But if you look at Utah, they don't show up at the inspection until the very end.
Huh. Interesting.
My experience has been that I haven't really changed procedures with the COVID outside of, the masks, the distancing. I wear gloves, that kind of thing. But people come to the inspection, their agent comes to the inspection. They stay with me on some areas that I think are maybe a bit more critical, like walking around the exterior and then in the basement. But they always drift and explore on their own, and I don't have any problem with that. I reach
How
out
many
at the
people
end so that-
do you have a limited amount of people you let come on it or anything like that?
I haven't, addressed that myself, but in a lot of cases, the real estate people do. Where if a buyer wants to bring their parents and their family and so on, some agents will restrict that. I haven't, restricted that, specifically from me, but that's what happens sometimes. But that has kind of trailed off. I mean, it seems like, people haven't invited contractors and so on, but it still happens some. But like I say, I haven't really changed. I think the masks are just a real pain in the neck because I wear glasses, but that's how I've done it and continue to do it. And I expect that I'm going to continue to do it that way, unless we somehow turn up to be non-essential or something.
Yeah.
But
That was just kind of a side note, but it's interesting to hear how things are being done.
yeah.
Pamela, is there any other information that you'd like us to get or anything you'd like to tell us about what you're seeing with complaints?
No, but just to go back to what board member Lawrence was saying, if you're a contract or flyer that you send out to, or a brochure that you send out recommends that they show up on time and be a part of the inspection, but now due to COVID, you want to change that. So if they have an expectation to be there, just make sure that you send something in writing. Maybe they should sign off on it due to the circumstances, we're not doing the, joint inspection, just so that they know if you are having to change your procedure than what's normally advertised. I know I bought a home back in February, and I worked with this one inspection company, and I was toe to toe every room with my husband and I. So that was part of what we were expected to do as participate in as part of the inspection. So if you already say that in your brochure, then you might want to add something extra or email them to say, they're your clients to say, due to COVID, this is how we're doing it now. So they're aware. So other than that, I think we have seen a lot of, I guess there's probably slowing down now. There was a higher volume a lot of inquiries about home inspections. And though I know one of the things that I'm looking into is beefing up our home inspector section of our website, because it doesn't really have a lot for the consumer. It's mostly based on licensing. So I may reach out to you all once I get around to that project, which is not going to be anytime soon, but I do that. There's a need there. And when we are putting that together, I'd like to know that we could work together on it.
Oh, absolutely. That'd be great. I'm sure be happy to
Yeah.
be part of that.
I mean, based on what we're hearing today, it seems to, take us back to our last meeting, and that a lot of issues are the expectations from a home buyer as to what we're doing and what we're not doing. And that's kind of in our minutes too, how we had discussed that exclusions component in the regulation. And maybe we were going to maybe send out something to the, inspectors at large to, just advise that they perhaps beef up their explanation of exclusions. But it just seems like this discussion today is trailing back to our discussion last time. That the complaints are mostly that people think we're supposed to be doing something that we don't have to be doing. It's clear in the regulations what we're doing, and it depends on how conscientious we are of making sure that they are aware of it.
Yeah.
Right. I think it's a company policy. I mean, if you start to set the customer's expectations from the first time they call your office to getting the contract, sending out the agreement, and then reviewing it again even before the inspection. Listen, we're here to identify 3 different things, whether the components are broken at the end of their life or a safety issue. And you keep, hammering it in what we're doing, then I think that you'll have less complaints, because, you have to make sure that they know we're not going to find every rotted little piece of wood or, deteriorated board or something like that. And if they think that, then they're going to come and complain.
Yeah.
I agree
Well,
with
the
that.
old saying has been right from the get-go for me is that it's not what we tell people that gets us in trouble. It's what we don't tell them. And that
Yeah.
seems like that's going to continue, but
Even no matter, yeah, I agree. And even no matter
we can
how clear
improve
you
on what
make
we tell
it,
people.
right, and even as clear as you make it, you're still going to have that complaint. You're still going to have people who just don't listen to anything and are going to complain.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
it's going to happen.
yeah.
See,
I
Richard
think
is.
in my report, I have added 2 words that I think have made a big difference, and I have it throughout, but a paragraph will start with "as discussed."
Yeah.
And that has gone a long way, because people read the report when they get it, and I have them initial that they're going to do that, and I think that if they read that as discussed, well, wait a minute, I didn't read about that. I didn't talk about that. If they don't call you, well, I think that it's a good thing to have, because that's what you say. We talked about this. It says it right in the report. We talked about the limitation of inspecting 1 window per room or whatever. I think that helps. 2 words, pretty strong. But anyway, yeah, it's
Good.
I think that's just an ongoing thing, though, in terms of people, misinterpreting or having, expectations that aren't realistic. So
Yeah,
I
very
think
true.
that's where our improvement as a group can maybe be.
Well, that's hopefully, Pamela, when you get to the point where you're going to put more information on the website, we can work with you to help, because as Larry and Bruce have said, it is managing expectations so people understand what you're doing and what you're not doing. And if we can do some things on the website to help people with that, that would be good as well.
Excellent. I appreciate that.
Pamela,
I know
Pamela,
we're
are you
a few
the,
more weeks away. But I won't
Okay.
get to that until January.
No, that's fine.
Pam, are you the one who's organizing the meeting we're having about one of the complaints?
No, is that, it's probably legal?
Carrie
Oh,
Jo.
that's Luke.
Bruce, that's a hearing. And that's with, I believe it's with Cynthia.
Right.
I see.
Pamela, thank you. Unless you have anything else for us this morning, or
No, I think I'm all set, unless you have any questions, but
I think we're
I'm all
good. I
set.
think we've been through it. Thank you very much. I guess we'll see you next time.
all right, take care, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pamela.
Thank you, Pamela.
Thank you.
Rich, can you hear us? We can't hear
Rich
you.
said he wasn't going to be here.
I see him. He's on the screen.
Yeah, but he's not here.
Who's that? I'm looking at.
Yeah, you're on.
Oh, he's there. He can't get his
Rich,
audio.
you got to hit unmute.
Yeah, they're saying that. Yeah, I would try to, maybe just work at it.
If you hit the screen, if you hit your own screen, you can see mute or not mute.
Yeah, I don't see anything mute on your picture. If you scroll down.
Can you hear us, Larry?
Can you hear us, Rich? No, his audio is out, receiving or outgoing.
Yeah,
If he
I'm
agrees,
checking
just
the-
tell him to nod, all right?
I'm checking the control panel and I don't see any option to activate any audio for Rich.
Yeah. Maybe if he signs out and signs back in, maybe there's some kind of glitch with the connection.
Right. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah. It does, huh? Do you have your volume turned up on your lower taskbar?
When you first sign in, it says test your audio.
Right.
He could try that.
I saw last night on the news that they're starting to take applications again for the foundations. But they said that they're not going to start giving money out until like, I guess, 2027.
27?
Yeah, that's what it said on the news, that they won't have the funds until that late.
Holy mackerel. That doesn't help a lot of people.
That's got to
No.
be a misprint. I
Maybe
thought it
it's-
was 2022, maybe.
22, I don't know. But anyhow, they are taking applications again. I guess 27 maybe is the time that it stops.
Oh, that might be it. That's probably the
Well,
life.
they're trying to extend that
Yeah.
to 2030, which would give us 15 years past 2015, which was kind of the cutoff of when we stopped using the cement.
Yeah.
Do you run into a lot of this, Larry?
So what's that, Bruce?
You see a lot of these?
It comes and goes. I'll do, seems like 5 or 6 of them, and then there'll be a slow period. I won't get any calls, and then suddenly I'll get some calls. It's still, I think that reimbursement piece gets in the way some still, but that's another question. I don't know if that's supposed to sunset during December. I thought that program with CROD was supposed to end, and I haven't seen anything about it ending or it continuing. So I'm not
We
sure
do,
where that
though.
stands.
We were getting calls for a while about the concrete, but we don't get much anymore.
Yeah.
How's Rich doing there, Larry? Should we continue or?
Yeah,
We
I
should
got Rich on the
continue.
phone, but I'm not sure what, I don't see your picture anymore, Rich.
No, he might have taken the audio. Maybe he should
Hey,
just.
Chris, tell him to listen on
Come
the
back.
phone right now. Why do you put it on speaker, Larry, and let him listen?
All right, hang on a second.
All right, so what's our next thing, Bill?
Next thing is you, Bruce, the Trinity. You were going to get in touch with Trinity about their
You
pyrotite
hear us, Rich?
testing.
Yeah, I did.
All right, I got my phone on and I've got you on speaker, so I'm not sure. Rich, why don't you sing us a song or something, see if we can all hear you from my phone.
Big
All right,
barrel.
well, if he can hear it, well, you can get the input from
Barely,
him
they
and
can barely
whether
hear
he
you.
agrees or not, all right?
All right,
So-
all right, let's
so, Bill,
just keep
I-
it this way, Rich, for now.
I called right after, Bill, and I
Yeah.
spoke to this gentleman at Trinity, and I relayed the information to you. He was going to come on our next meeting if you would talk to him.
That
Did
was,
you
up-
speak?
oh, I didn't realize that. You just set that up. Okay.
Yeah, so he would actually come on and speak to us. Now, it's very, again, I don't remember totally, it was a while ago, it was like a month ago or a couple months ago.
Did you send me his contact information?
Yeah, I did at the time, and he was very willing and very, very nice, but it was, the issue is that you're always going to have a trace. There's always a trace. And what I was trying to determine is if there's an acceptable amount that's allowed, even with a trace. And he was saying, I'll have to re-look at my notes again, but we need to get him on the board. So I'll try to look up the information. Why don't we have him come on the next meeting?
I think that's a great idea. I'm looking, I don't remember ever getting the contact info from you.
Yeah,
Bruce.
that's all right. We'll get it again. I trailed it down and then I talked to you. I think it was on the phone. And I thought I sent it to you, but it doesn't matter. We'll trace it down. And if I get it to you, will you set up to him to come?
Yeah. Why don't you send it to me and to Rich
Okay.
so that we'll both have it.
Yeah, because I think it's good information for us to have as far as testing process.
Okay.
That wouldn't happen till March, right?
Yeah, I think that's our next meeting, March 16th.
Yeah.
Bruce,
Okay.
what's his name?
Yeah, I don't have it right in front of me.
Okay.
I'll get it to both of you, all right?
All right, good.
Fair enough. Okay.
All right, so that's till next meeting. Then the next item is continuation of discussion concerning COVID education for Connecticut home inspectors. I think where we came out on that was that CAHI has already reinitiated their meetings and they're making the continuing ed available now.
Right.
And the guys still have 6 months to catch up. And CAHI may actually, during the first part of next year, put on some kind of a supplemental education program. I can get back in touch with them about that, but
Right.
and that CAHI's back in business now. I'm not sure there's much for us to do at this point. And I think as we discussed last time, I have been in touch with Leslie O'Brien from the Government Relations Department, who basically said the governor's not inclined to waive or change any of the continuing education requirements other than the ones he's already changed. And those were two very specific situations where those trades were not allowed to do online education. So he authorized them to do online education, so that's all he did. So basically, and we already are authorized to do online education. So basically, I don't think there's a lot for us to do at this point. There's plenty of time for people to catch up if they're short on credits and plenty of online courses that they can take if they want to.
Yeah, I agree. I think we're going to be okay with that.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if there's any further discussion on that, I think we
Right.
can, that's probably an issue we can put to bed.
Yeah. The other question with regard to the continuing ed, Bob, you were going to check with the, just look into the concrete courses that were taken by some guys. And having those be acceptable credit. That's what I have. I thought that was in the minutes.
Yeah, it was, Larry. I couldn't specifically find the documentation, but I mean, the board, we'll accept the credits. I mean, that's, we can make it a part of the, part of
Okay.
this meeting. I think that's where we were going last time also. I
Yeah.
have kind of limited access to our databases from here.
Larry, do you
Right.
have any of the, you were looking at this, the recertification classes is what you were talking about, right?
Well, there was the one that, like the initial course, that I think that still fell within this, this period.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then the recertification one came, about a year later, which again, still in
Yeah.
our current period.
I thought we had already approved the initial one. I'm pretty sure we did.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think,
don't know. We could maybe go back into some minutes or something and it would maybe talk
I
about
feel
that.
pretty
but-
confident. I mean, that initial one, I remember getting copies of the agendas from Jose Miguel and from the gentleman who did the concrete.
Right,
So, and I think I sent them to Bob. So I think we're pretty good on, I would think we would accept that without question because that was
Yeah.
a course.
yeah.
And then the recertification was pretty much the same thing, wasn't it? But it was just,
Well, it was a bit more specific to the issue.
Yeah.
Rather than the first one had a lot of general information about concrete and
Concrete,
so
yeah.
on. And then this was more specific to the crumbling problem. It was shorter. It was 4 hours, I think. And it was an online presentation.
Okay.
Um,
And did you get a certificate or something to show that?
No, the certificate, there was a notice, I think I kept it, that said, the original certification that we got, which doesn't have to do with hours or anything, but just saying that we completed the course and we're certified to inspect,
Yeah.
was to carry over and, that would be acceptable for the second. So the certificate, if you have a certificate,
Yeah.
then you were okay for both courses.
Is there some kind of an attendee list somewhere
I
probably?
think they probably have that. Or they may have updated the list from the original. And so now the new list would have the guys who
Right,
went
it would
to
be on the website.
certification. And guys who did not attend the recertification were probably removed from the list.
Yeah.
So the current list off of crumblingfoundations.org would show everybody that's up to date.
Okay.
That's how I understood it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
And then if you were
I-
questioned about it, you could present
Yeah.
that certificate, and the certificate, would cover you. And if someone wanted to check.
Well, and if you're on the
back with-
website, the website would say that you've been recertified too. So that would cover you for the second 4 hours. And I think if we approved the curriculum for the first course, we certainly would approve the recertification for the same course.
Right.
For 4 hours, not the 8. I think the first one was 8 hours. The second one was only 4.
Bill,
Right.
who's the provider again? Can you
It was the, help me with the name of that, Jerry, Larry, the,
Isn't it the insurance?
CISFIC.
yeah,
Yeah, I always forget. It's the
Connecticut
Crumbling Foundations Solutions Indemnity Company.
Yeah, good for you.
All right, CISFIC, yeah. Yeah, but, and their website is crumblingfoundations.org. And if you go to that, there's a whole bunch of information. But I think if you click on the homeowner link and scroll, you'll get to the point of severity codes. And in that, there's a link that would give you the most up-to-date list. And that list is going to have everybody who has taken the last or the
Yeah.
most current course. So if you took the first course but not the second, you're not going to be on the list. If you took both, then you should be listed.
So if you took the first course, you got a certificate, and you can
Correct.
use that would be the proof that you took the course.
Correct.
If you're
Yeah.
on the list now, that would be a proof that you took both the first and second course.
Yeah, there was not a second certificate
Right.
on paper, but if you were on the course, if you were on the list, then that indicates you took both courses.
Yeah. So this is a I mean, the way they're doing the CEs now, it's like a random audit. So
Right.
it's up to the person that's claiming the credit to prove that they got it.
Right. Yeah. And I'd have to hunt up my certificate, but I don't know that it actually says how many hours. If it did say how many hours were involved in the first course, then there'd be still some additional hours that should be, acceptable.
Right.
But I'm not sure what the certificate actually says. It may just say that you successfully passed. I'd have to see. I don't know if it specifically says number of hours.
So Bob, do we need to do some kind of a motion here that officially accepts both the initial course and the refresher course as approved CEUs for home inspectors?
I would, Bill, yes.
Okay,
Just for
so
the
why don't I
record.
make that motion that the board accepts both the initial and refresher or updating course about a year later. The first course, for however many hours it was, the second course for 4 hours of
Yeah.
continuing education.
Yeah, I think it was 8 and 4, but yeah,
I believe, right.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
All right.
Motion?
Aye.
Okay,
Okay. Rich is in.
good.
I just looked up the name on, for the Trinity, and
Okay.
it's Professor Jonathan Gorley at Trinity College. So
Oh, last name?
so the last name is Gourley, and his telephone number is 860-297-4128. And you could also email him at Jonathan, which is JONATHAN .GOURLEY at TRINCOLL.edu.
Okay, great. And we can reference his conversation with you.
Yeah, you can reference that, and you could also, he's one of the professors there that does the testing and has a lot of information.
Is he in the engineering department there or what?
I'm not sure exactly, but when you go on the website, which I just got it from, it's two professors that are performing these. It says does it, and also this Christopher Geiss. So it's Christopher GEISS. And it says right here, our analysis performed in our labs at the college by these two professors.
Okay,
So, I think that he, as I said, he was very willing. That's what I thought. I thought I spoke to you afterwards, and I said he really liked to come explain, and I thought you said that's a great idea. Let's do it.
I agree it's a great idea. I just don't recall ever being.
Conversation.
Getting
That's
him
all
or getting
right.
his info.
It doesn't matter. We can get him here the next time.
We'll get it.
Listen, the one thing I would like to discuss about this COVID is, as a board, I think it would be prudent for us to issue something to all the home inspectors in the state, saying that the COVID, you got to be careful, and you should really be using the CDC's guidelines by masks and watching how you perform inspections.
Mhm. Well,
I mean, I just think it might be good coming from us that I mean, I'm in agreement. I think that, I do feel that, you have to take every precaution you can. And if the seriousness of this thing is heard by everybody coming from us, that maybe people might take it a little bit more seriously. So I would make a motion that we should issue something.
Well, I mean, you want to draft something up for us to take a look at, Bruce?
I suppose I could do that,
And shoot it out by email and we take a look at it.
Okay, all right. I mean, well, let's have a little discussion. Anybody else think we should do that?
I mean, I think first of all, it sounds to me, I mean, my initial reaction is it's kind of late in the game. I mean, we've been doing this for 6-8 months now and everybody, and it's now we're into the vaccines. And I think in 6 months, we're going to be out of it, but it can't hurt. You're right. It can't hurt at this point to just let people know.
I mean, if we save, the way I'm thinking is if we save one person's exposure, it would be worth it.
Sure.
Yeah. I'd be surprised if inspectors are out there doing nothing. Because don't forget, homeowners are pretty concerned as well. And I've had cases where they demand that we do things that I normally maybe wouldn't do, like putting
you're right.
some movies on and all that.
Right.
So, I mean, we have to, kind of be mindful of what a specific homeowner may be concerned about and pretty much follow what they want. I mean, I had a case the other day, which kind of really ticked me off, was that we were under surveillance and someone sent a message to the real estate agent who was there saying, please put masks on.
You got to be careful.
So that was interesting, but that ticked me off because we're supposed to acknowledge and agree in writing that we're allowing ourselves to be surveilled by a homeowner. And that didn't happen.
Where's that, Larry? I mean, it's their house and their cameras.
No, that's in writing. We have that. That's a regulation that we have to sign off agreeing to that.
Where are you getting that from? That they have to.
I have it. I have to find it. A real estate agent sent it to me. Bob, do you know of anything about that with regard to consumer protection? It's out there.
Huh.
Yeah.
I'd like to see that, Larry. So if you can.
All right, hang on, one at a time. What's that?
I don't offhand, Larry, but I'll check.
Yeah.
I would imagine the real estate agents are probably the ones that.
Hang on a second, Bill. Rich is saying that, oftentimes when you see that like ring system and stuff, there's a chance that you're being watched and listened to.
Oh yeah. We had somebody. We had a complaint that somebody videoed one of the guys going in to get the radon and he moved something and they complained about it.
Yeah.
So you got to be careful. I mean, the other thing which is kind of interesting, which is the same thing, Larry, is that you got to be careful when you're going to do a home inspection, and what happened? I think we turned the dishwasher on, right? And the thing starts leaking all over the place. Is that there should be something, each person should do something differently. It hasn't happened that much, but when you go into somebody's house, you should have permission to go around and try everything that you normally would try and, living in the home. And if by you trying it, you should have their permission just in case they said, well, you should have asked me if you were going to try that or something.
Yeah. Well, the issue is that technically, I believe we're supposed to leave the house the way we found it. And I had that come up one time where the homeowner was a lawyer and it was a pretty good sized house. I disconnected using my test device, a ground fault in the bathroom. The outlet was a standard looking receptacle. My test device popped it off. So it told me, okay, the outlet's protected.
Right back.
But now where the hell is the reset?
Oh, man, I agree.
That's right.
And I couldn't find it for the life of me. I couldn't find it. And it turned out being on the exterior of the garage. At any rate, I can't, anyway, that's where it ended up being.
We've had that happen to us. It's either in the back of the garage, but we've also had it like hidden in a appliance garage.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Way behind the appliances.
Well, the bottom line was that the guy, he complained to the real estate agent using those terms. I didn't leave the house the way I found it. And he expected me to pay for an electrician who I guess came and traced it, or they found it somehow. And I pretty much said, I'm not doing it. You know, whatever, 125 bucks or whatever.
Did you tell the agent at the time that you couldn't find it, that you looked hard and you couldn't? And so
Oh yeah, it was in my report. It was in my
Okay.
report that we could find it. Everyone was looking. Everyone was looking. I'm there. This is what you want to look for, because there was some ground faults in the kitchen, for example.
Yeah.
So everybody knew what we were looking for. And so I think I spent over a half an hour trying to find the damn thing. And then we documented it. And I think the agent even told the listing agent that the bathroom was out and not, you know, the outlet wasn't working because we couldn't find the device. But this guy, you know, he might have had a hair across his butt for some other reason. And, you know, he was gonna, he basically complained that, you know, that I didn't leave the house the way I found it. And
You
so
probably found a lot of stuff that cost him a lot of money. He was
I
pissed.
think that might have been it. I think that might have been it.
But I'll tell you, you were lucky that GFI is not on a freezer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right.
Because we've had that happen before, where the people
yeah.
lose a whole freezer of food.
Yep. Then you're in even more of a pickle. It almost, you know, we've heard seminars where guys have said, well, don't use those test devices for checking ground faults. If you're going to check them, test what is on the device, because that's what the homeowner is going to do if they do it at all. But how many times do you pop one off and it doesn't reset?
Oh, yeah.
Because
You
they
forget
didn't have
your
the one
device,
on
you
it.
know? It doesn't reset. So you still got the problem. The outlet's defective, and you found out it was defective by testing it. So I'm not sure where our liability lies there, but it's caused me to second guess. Do I want to test these, or do I just want to report that they were observed, but they were not tested?
As long as you state it in the report, I think you're okay. But we do have inspectors who will not test the GFIs just for that reason.
Yeah, they don't reset, and now you got an issue. I haven't really had any problem with that other than that one case, but I've said, you know, we tested the outlet, it did not reset, and either the outlet's wired improperly or the outlet is defective, and to follow up and have it repaired. But I haven't had a problem other than just this one guy, and it probably had to do with his training. You know?
Yeah.
I've had sinks. I had sinks with no drains hooked up to it, and they don't even tell you.
Yeah.
You know, it's that kind of craziness.
Oh yeah. So it's, you know, I mean, it's kind of the nature of what we do. We're trying to find something that may be wrong, and when it's wrong, it usually, you know, there's a result. That, yeah, it's leaking, or it caused a stain or something. Well, you're not leaving the house the way it was, but you're I mean, that's why you're hired, you know, to find that.
Yeah.
That's just the bad part of our business. You're going to deal with that.
Yeah. Like I say, I had that one case, and I haven't had any other, but I hate not leaving the house the way I find it, especially with ground faults, and you can look all over for the darn things, and half the time there's more than necessary. You got to find the controlling one and so on, you know, but it's.
Especially when you hear it click. You
Oh, yeah.
push it, you hear a click, you know it's somewhere in that house.
Right.
It's a pain in the neck.
It is.
Yes,
yeah,
it is.
Yeah, but it is something that just to be aware of in terms of leaving the house the way you found it. I don't know how we diversed there from the COVID concern, but here we are.
All right, but Bruce is gonna draft something and send it out, and we'll take a look at it, and then we can.
Yeah, I'll take, it's just something simple, just saying something like, we know you're all tired. I mean, I've seen, I've even seen people who've had COVID and then they're not wearing a mask. And then they're saying that they're not contagious. That's,
Yeah.
everybody's making their own regulations.
Yeah.
I had a friend of mine who's a Cox cable guy, went into a house, did the install for a property, and as he's leaving, they say, "Oh yeah, our son is positive for COVID, just so you'll know."
Thanks.
Wow.
That's
Well,
amazing.
last week we had somebody call up and say, look, because we ask the owner and all the occupants to leave the house. So they said that they have someone who just got home from the hospital and they have lupus and they're not going to be able to leave the house. So we said we can't do the inspection. And then they rescheduled it for Monday. And we get a call on Sunday and they said, well, it wasn't lupus, it was COVID.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So maybe Bruce, in as part of this draft, maybe we ought to be putting out the question, to the respective parties, the homeowner, has anyone tested positive recently or whatever?
Yeah.
You should find out. That's right. You should get all the information. You should use your own disclosure.
Yeah.
And you could even put in there that thing, Larry, that we're going to try everything, and we want you to know. We want you to be aware that we're going to be running all your utilities, trying all the doors and windows, and all the plumbing. So if something's not working, please tell us.
Yeah.
And on top of it, if you had COVID, we want to know that too.
Yeah. Well, I think probably we're talking apples and oranges, sort of.
Yeah.
I think if you're going to draft something, Bruce, specific to COVID, I would leave it specific to COVID.
Yeah, no, I'll do that. I will do that. I think we just put out a statement saying that, we're all tired of it, and we know that, that you let down your guard, but now's not the time to do it, and you should be careful out there and follow the regulations.
Well, in addition, to be respectful for any requests per a homeowner that may be outside those regulations. Like I had this gal the other day, she wanted everyone to wear boots. And so, okay, so we wore our booties. And she wanted people to wear gloves and masks and so on. That's the same one where we got the notice saying, please put your masks on. That's how it led up to that discussion about surveillance. But at any rate, I think being respectful for whatever a homeowner may want that could be in addition to what, the standard things are. I mean, I guess really the standard thing is the mask. I mean, is beyond that and social distancing, I don't think that there's any, requirements or recommendations that you wear gloves and booties and stuff.
I had the same thing.
That we should comply.
Yeah, I had the same thing, Larry. And so we were wearing booties, we were wearing gloves, and we were wearing masks. And and they wanted a mold test. So I went in to do a mold test. The mold test requires that you take a piece of tape off of a plastic canister and put it on a machine. So I took it off. It's getting stuck to my gloves. So I had to take one of my gloves off and take off the tape, and I walk out the door, and the homeowner's walking home, in. Oh no, that guy's not wearing a glove. She went nuts, saying, really? How can he be in my house without a glove? I said, I got the glove, I just had to take it off. But some people are getting wild about it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think awareness is a big thing, and just trying to trying to be respectful of what people want. I mean, but
Whatever.
yeah, Yeah, right.
Anything else in the new business category?
I have
Um,
nothing.
Minutes, I assume, Bob?
I don't, Bill.
Okay. Nobody has any comments or concerns. I think that exhausts our agenda unless anybody's got anything else to add.
no, I don't
So
think
Bill,
so.
you're going to make the call to the Trinity guy to try to get him to
Yeah,
the next one, right?
between Bob and I, we'll get that done.
Okay, and I will issue some short statement about COVID.
Okay.
Sounds good.
To you.
Send it out for us to look at?
Yeah, I'll send it to you and Bob.
Okay, and Rich.
Yeah,
And
send it
Rich,
to all of us.
I'll
Yeah,
send
no,
it
it's
to
like
Get
everybody,
to the
yeah.
board.
Yeah, just send it to everybody.
Yeah,
Right.
okay,
It's
good.
gonna be something short and sweet, so.
All right, good.
Very good.
All right. I
All
guess
right.
Hang on 1 second, guys. Rich has a question, but what is it,
Okay.
Rich?
You want the cheeseburger?
Yeah. Now, what Rich is saying is, for this hearing that's coming up, what is it, December or January 8th or
January,
something?
yeah, right.
Whenever it is, that we should try to plan on getting together early, 15 minutes early or something, just to work out any kinks with video and audio that might
Yeah.
pop up.
You
that's probably not
definitely
a bad
should.
idea.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
definitely should try to, I came on 15 minutes early today.
Yeah. I think, as I recall, though, we're also going to get some information, about the claim, about the hearing. A week before, a week before or something. So we may want to have a discussion. I think there was some limited discussion we could have.
Oh, I don't think there was. I don't
Um,
think you could discuss, I don't think you could look at the material until the meeting.
We can look at the general complaint, I guess, but we can't look at the exhibits. And apparently they're gonna send us
Right,
exhibits too.
right.
Yeah, and then we don't think we can have conversations about it before the hearing.
I don't think so either. So I don't think we could, and then Bill, do we listen to it, have the meeting, and then we come back and adjourn and talk separately, don't we?
Well, if we can make a decision at that time, we can, or if we're not comfortable doing that, we'll have to arrange another executive session meeting to discuss
We
it.
discuss it right in front of them and then we take a vote right in front of them?
That's what Julianne had said, and to me, that doesn't sound right, but I don't know. I mean, if it's open and shut and maybe we agree that it's all pretty straightforward, but
Otherwise, we ask for an executive session.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
All right,
I think we definitely have that option.
okay.
I mean, we can
Yeah.
just discuss it right then and say, do people want to make a decision, or do you want to have a discussion? And if there's members that want to have a discussion, then we'll just schedule a separate executive session to get together and talk about it.
Okay.
All right.
Okay,
I would say I move we adjourn.
I agree.
Sounds
Okay.
good.
I think we're done. I guess I'll see you guys on January 8th then.
All right, we'll see you then.
Okay.
Thank you.
Take care.
Happy New Year.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay. Yeah.
Bye
All
now.
right. See you, gang. Take care. Yeah.